What's up, guys? Welcome back to another MarbleCast. Today I'm joined by Michael Kloster, the owner and operator of WODHopper. WODHopper is the gym management software that we use here at CrossFit Dark Athletics, and it helps us keep our business in line and organized with doing the programs, setting up memberships, and everything else that we need. If you're in the market for a gym management software, we highly recommend WODHopper. All right, let's check it out. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another MarbleCast. I'm Joe Marble. Today we're joined by WODHopper owner and creator Michael Kloster. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm great. How you doing, Joe?
Good, man. How's the weather out there?
Oh, man, it's been freezing. We've had, the whole polar vortex here, 2 weeks of just snowing every day in Chicago. I suppose it's about the same where you are.
Yeah, it was snowing yesterday. We had a rough weekend and rough few weekends, but probably not as bad as you guys. You guys definitely get hit way harder than we do.
I just watched a video online of the Chicago iceberg floating away. You got to check it out. It's like this massive sheet of ice. It just slides off the coast out into Michigan.
Is that like on Lake Michigan?
On Lake Michigan, yeah. Like, it frozen about, 3/4 of a mile out, the lake. It doesn't freeze very often, and then it shattered and broke off and just kind of floated away. It was like Chicago put on an Alaska costume.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, so you own WODHopper. And if you guys don't know, WODHopper is the gym management software that we use here at CrossFit Dark Athletics. We've been using it since day one, and it's probably one of the best services I've ever used. The customer service that you guys provide, is just incredible. Anytime I need anything done, Michael is right on it, be it changing things up in the membership or just if you have issues. It's awesome. So how did you get started with WODHopper, with gyms, with CrossFits? Like, what was that journey like from the start?
Yeah, from the very beginning, I got the CrossFit bug in summer of 2008, okay? And it was on a bet. Like, a buddy of mine had looked on CrossFit.com, the main site, and he was like, look at these workouts, they're impossible. And we looked, in the comment section, and you'd be scrolling through, and you'd be like, oh, it's all BS. Anybody can post whatever they want on the internet. It's just total BS. So we tried one of the workouts, the typical story. We were at, not a CrossFit gym, of course. This would have been like at a health club that we were lifting at. And, kind of gathered up all the equipment. Halfway through, he's running down to the basement, vomiting. He comes back up, still finishes the WOD before me. And that was our introduction to CrossFit. And as we wanted to, develop our skills and whatnot, we got into all the online videos, watching the Nasty Girls or watching the, what was the other ones back then? That was the King Kong videos, all that. We just got hooked, and so we wanted to visit a CrossFit gym and, to use a GHD machine. Like, we'd heard of them, but we'd never seen one. And so we went to go sign up at the only CrossFit gym in Chicago, which was Windy City CrossFit at the time. And there was no software, no way to sign up. It was just like we showed up, and it was in the back of an alley warehouse. And that was kind of getting I was a software developer already. That was getting the wheels turning. I got the CrossFit bug. Had tried to go to a gym and seen what they were doing and wondering, couldn't this be better? Shouldn't there be a solution for these guys? But it was still years before I really, I tried CrossFit a few times. It wasn't until 2009 when I had the idea that we would compete at the CrossFit Games as a team, okay? Because in 2008, the CrossFit teams were allowed to be it was just like open. If you had an affiliate, you could just show up.
Right.
So my idea this is legit my idea for I was going to be a CrossFit Games athlete. I was going to get my L1, okay? I was going to start a gym, on paper. I had a friend who did CrossFit, and he said to find 3 girls and one other guy. We were just going to show up and be CrossFit. And after I signed up for my L1, they announced that there was going to be an affiliate cup qualifier for that year. We're like, damn, that plan's shot. So we just went and did the L1 anyway. And that's where I met a lot more people, and the idea started to percolate a little bit more. And it was, I think, 2010, my day job got to a point where I was like, I think I want to go out and start doing this for real. The iPad was released by Apple. And that was a big inspiration for the product. For those that don't know, WODHopper has a big iPad component. And the idea was that at a gym, for trainers on the floor, there'd be so much you could do with a device you could hold in your hand rather than like sitting at a computer behind a desk. And that just wasn't the thing of CrossFit gyms at the time. So we developed like a prototype, and I signed up for a competition. I don't know if you know about this one, but this was in October of 2010. CrossFit and USA Weightlifting did a joint event.
Okay.
And this was super cool because it was in Colorado Springs. And
was it at the OTC?
Yeah. Okay. At the Olympic Training Center. And they combined together to do this event. And it had the total. And then there was a CrossFit WOD you had to do as well. And the total points from the CrossFit WOD plus your points from the total got added up, and you'd be the winner. And they had some big names there who were doing like exhibition lifts, and I think they even had Chad Vaughn do the WOD too. So he did the weightlifting component, then he tried the WOD.
I bet he loved that.
To try to balance it out. Yeah. And anyway, so I did that competition. I also had a booth. That was my first time I got the booth at the at a CrossFit event. I swear, I think I have a half a dozen clients I met at that event still right now. And that was the real launch. That was where we had a prototype, we had a product, and it's just been going ever since. We love doing events. We've been to every CrossFit game since 2011 as a vendor, and we love meeting people. And like you mentioned, the customer service. To me, it's all about meeting the people. If you have a problem, call my number. We'll work it out. And for the software, just making it as easy as possible to use. Like, hopefully no one needs to call me because it just works. But that's what it's been about for me. And the CrossFit part of it's been a lot of fun. And I've met a lot of people both in and out of CrossFit now because the software can be used, by more than just CrossFit gyms.
Right. So that's
the journey to where I got to today.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. You started before I did. I started back in 2009 with that CrossFit.com daily WOD. And for anybody who doesn't know, like, the whiteboard was the comment section on CrossFit.com, and you would just stare at it and be like, how did that guy do this in 8 minutes? And it took me like 15 or 20. It was like, some of the workouts were ridiculous. Some of them were really kind of simple, but like you threw your score up and just hoped that, that's cool, I'm competitive. But yeah, those were like...
Exactly, and that's the inspiration for the software too. You're scrolling through this list, and you're like looking at names that say like Spiel or OPT, and you're like, what are these? Who are these people? Like, how is that possible? 25 rounds on Cindy, it's like impossible.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like, there's gotta be a better way to organize this information. If you're a software developer, that's kind of what you're thinking when you're looking at those comment sections. So.
Yeah. So we found you guys when I was working out at CrossFit Greenpoint, and I saw their setup. And Ron is one of my good friends. I had him on the podcast a few weeks ago. And I saw their setup, and I was like, when we open a gym, that's kind of what I want. The iPad in the front, everybody checks in, and I think this is a great way to do it, and it's streamlined, and it's very simple. And the other cool thing about it is that you can make all the customizations that you need within the program, so it's awesome. How do you deal with, like, you say that you hope nobody asks you questions, but I see the Facebook group. Everybody asks you questions all day. I mean, you must just be like going crazy all day. But you're very patient and you're very good with the response. So I'm like, it's awesome.
No, it's really not. It seems like that, but it's really not as busy as you would expect for the number of clients you get. And I love the questions.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of the job is working with the people, like meeting these people and helping them out. And usually if there's one person's got a question, a dozen more have got that question. But I also have the philosophy, which is like, every gym, every business has got tough customers. And you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah.
You've got them. We've all had them.
We all have them.
And my philosophy is, if you can win over your toughest client and get the guy or the girl who never has a good thing to say about anyone to say, no, this software, it's amazing. Like, people are going to listen to that person because they know that they have never had a good experience with any product. So if you can get those people to have a good experience with WODHopper, then you've really sold somebody. So that's kind of my goal. No matter how upset or disappointed or whatever the problem, frustrated, And usually it has little to do with the product. If somebody comes on, rants about the product, you know if they just broke up with their girlfriend or who knows what's going on in their life, right? And this is who's going to get it today. It's going to be today's WODHopper getting the punishment. So I just keep that in mind and laugh off the tough ones. And most people, though, I mean, honestly, our clients are great. You see in the questions, they're nice. They're really great. It's a good community.
Yeah, we have a good Facebook group there, and I learn a little bit every time somebody asks a question. I'll just peek in and be like, oh, all right, I kind of had that same question.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's good to have an open forum like that. So you're doing great. I love it.
I like to do it too in person too, because you'll do an event and people will show up and they'll just like bring their problem. Like you'll be doing an event at the CrossFit Games or someplace, and they'll just show up with their iPad or something like, how do I get this to work right now? And you're like, well, let me show you. Like, this is on-site tech support. So.
Did you guys go out to the latest CrossFit Games, or is that like?
Oh, I wish that would have been our 10th year. So no, we that was a closed event. You couldn't do anything with that one.
Right.
We're signed up for this year, but I don't know, if it's going to happen or not. I can tell ticket sales are slow because usually by this time it's sold out.
Right.
And I think most of the Coliseum is still available if you wanted to go.
Do you guys do weightlifting events too, or you just stick with mostly CrossFit?
I haven't done a weightlifting event for quite some time. There's not generally enough business there. I used to compete, though. You're looking at the 2010 Mid-America Cup runner-up, age 30 to 35 division.
All right.
Champion.
There you go.
There was two of us competing, but
all right, there you
go. I'll take that little trophy and put it on my shelf.
Number one is number one.
I love the weightlifting. What's that?
Number one is number one.
That's right. Number one is number one. Yeah. So I love weightlifting, but I think I picked up a client at one weightlifting event. Oh, this is crazy. So for that 2010 event that I did in Colorado Springs, I had a singlet made with the WODHopper logo on it, like massive, just like front and center. And later they came up to me and they're like, that's like against USAW guidelines, like we're going to let it slide today. But like they have rules about that, of course. I didn't think about it, but they do have rules about that. So whenever I'm lifting in the comps, every once in a while someone will come up to me afterwards like, you're the WODHopper guy? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I need software for my gym. I'm like, okay, cool. So a couple of times I've done that, but mostly it's just CrossFit comps or gyms that we know, our clients that are local in Chicago putting on an event, we'll show up and do something like that.
Do you still compete in weightlifting, or are you just sticking with like the CrossFit Open and stuff?
I haven't competed in years. I was going to come out of retirement in the 10-year mark, I think, of 2020, to do the Mid-America Cup again. That was one that was put on by, I don't know if you guys know Mike Gatone or Roger Nielsen in Chicago. Okay, yeah. Mike Gatone, actually, I think he's been the president of the USAW and maybe again. He took a little stint at Gatorade. But he was my first Olympic lifting coach.
How about that?
That's a nuts story, too.
That's pretty great.
Because he had his gym, like, it was just sheer luck. I got back from the level 1 cert in 2009, which was at Roic headquarters. And I was like, obviously I know nothing about weightlifting. Like I had only learned off of Mike Bergner's online videos. And when I went to the L1 cert, I realized I knew nothing. And so I was like, I gotta find a coach. I was willing to travel 3 states at that point. So I go online, Olympic weightlifting coaches. I am not kidding you. Less than a half a mile from where I was working was Mike Gatone's gym. So I went over there and I was like, guys, what's the story? And he's like, no, we don't take on just like walk-ons or whatever. And I was like, well, what's your noon hour like? Like, do you have like people in here? And he's like, no, it's pretty dead. So I said, if I can get like 10 guys from my office to come over here, can we do a class, or can we? And so he's like, yeah, if you can get that many. So I rounded up people, and he did it, and he did that coaching for us. So he runs the USA. Long sidebar there, but he runs the Mid-America Cup tournament. I was going to come out of retirement for that, but I haven't done a comp, I think, since maybe 2015.
Okay. Yeah, dude. 10 years ago, finding weightlifting gyms was like one every like state. You had one coach.
Yeah, at best.
Yeah, and now
and they were not equipped.
Right. And it was like a closet.
The Sayre Park. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Sayre Park Chicago weightlifting club. Like that's a kind of a long-standing famous club. But like still to this day, I'm pretty sure they train in the basement. Yeah. So yes.
Yeah, it's minimal equipment. You just drag it out for an hour with like the 10 guys that lift, and then you put it away, and that's it. You're done, because everybody else had jobs. Like all the coaches were gym teachers, or they did something else. And at night, they would coach a few athletes, and that's how the sport was growing in the early 2000s, early 2010s. Now, and it's massive.
Now it's huge, and I mean, CrossFit gets a lot of credit for bringing
100%.
the weight Olympic lifting, to the masses, and attracting other athletes in. I think they would recruit from other sports. You get a strong football player who, for whatever reason couldn't continue in football, they'd be like, you could be a weightlifter. They'd be recruiting at that time from other sports. I remember the bobsled does that too. They'll look for, great soccer players or whatnot, or the people that have the build, and they'll just recruit into their sport from other sports.
Yeah, so the way I met or sort of interacted with Mike Katone was he had an athlete or a few athletes that were around my area, and they had a combine or something for Olympic trials for bobsled or something, and he had a couple of girls that were really strong but didn't make the team, so he was trying to get them to do weightlifting. He's like, if I find you a club, will you do weightlifting? So one of the girls came here for a little while. She was doing okay, and then I think she left. She went back to bobsledding. But that's my interaction with Mike Katone.
Yeah, okay. Well, he's a great guy. He's another Chicago native, so...
Yeah, he's doing tremendous work with USA Weightlifting, and him and Piros are just doing great coaching over there. I'm hoping that everything sort of opens up in the next few months, where we can actually have bigger competitions, because we're having our competition. We're gonna be okay. We'll do all the stipulations, but like nothing else is really open now. Competitions are very slim. You can have like we did one in July. We're doing one now. But I was looking for other places. My athletes are like, can we lift anywhere other than here? And I'm just like, I would love to, but I can't find any place to lift.
Well, it's tough. And, I feel like weightlifting could be done safely, too, because, that's a sport you don't have contact. You can spread people out. I mean, I feel like that's a good one that should be able to open up pretty early relative to some other sports.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really need any contact other than with the bar, and everything can be wiped down.
Yeah,
so
it's not really, COVID's not really spreading by contact anyways. We figured that out. It's pretty much through the air, so.
Yeah. How have you guys been affected by COVID how have you guys been affected with this COVID and over the past year?
Oh, yeah, COVID had a pretty big impact on our business. So if you think about back to March, there was kind of the COVID panic. Everybody was scrambling to get the features necessary to train people at home. We did a lot of work on that. And at that time, gyms that were already on the edge, like maybe weren't going to make it or not, they closed up shop.
Right.
So you probably saw that in your area. There was a lot of gyms that were closing because COVID was either the final nail in the coffin, or was the reason that somebody's ego would allow them to let go a business that maybe wasn't making it. So we saw that in our numbers. But by May and June, the opposite had happened, where anyone who wanted to be open realized they needed to have software.
Right.
Like you have to have reservations, you have to have contact tracing, So there was a mini COVID boom in our business, and right now that was through about September, and then and in fact the cool thing that I get to see is what's happening within the gym, because I'm not sure, I haven't looked at your numbers recently, but people came back. Yeah. And in a big way this summer. Like gyms were doing 66% above pre-COVID numbers. And that has to do with the fact that, one, studio gyms, CrossFit gyms, they are able to open safely because of class sizes and things of that nature, as opposed to YMCAs or other big where they need to cram a lot of people into a room all on treadmills.
Right.
So those folks who had wanted to stay fit but had nowhere to go were checking out these small studios and finding out how amazing group class training is. So that was a big plus. So within our gyms, I'm seeing membership growth and new people, not just their old members who maybe left during COVID and then came back, but brand new people trying it out. And I mean, that's my prediction. May, June, July is the new January for our businesses in terms of clients. I have a feeling that people are just going to get flooded. Like, wait lists, class sizes are just going to be like off the roof because everybody's going to be able to train outdoors somewhat, keep doors open, you know, all the things that are going to make it a lot easier. And of course, we expect the numbers to be going down in terms of positive cases. So I would say to any gym out there, gym owner watching this, you know, plan right now, start your May, June, July plan. That's where your marketing blitz should be. That's where your onboarding focus should be. And that's where your retention strategy is going to be, you know, July, August, September. Those, after you get those people in the door, that next 3 months is that critical period to really, you know, get them hooked. So that's what I've seen from the numbers. I would expect gyms that do it successfully to, you know, increase membership between 150 and 200%. No problem.
Yeah, the reset on May, June, July, that's kind of like the right Memorial Day is kind of where you pick up new clients, and then the summer is kind of, for us, it's not that bad because we get college students, but now college students aren't going back to school, so I don't know what's going on with that. That's a whole other mess. But the summer gets like kind of slow where people go on vacation and everybody sort of hangs out. But being that it's kind of pandemic-y, people aren't going to go away as much, so they need to do stuff outside. And it's harder here to do this stuff outside because we're not in an area where outside is conducive. But we open the doors and we do the best we can. And that's kind of what we did over the summer of the past summer. We opened up in June, even though we weren't supposed to. Sorry, not sorry. But we opened up. I did some outside stuff. I did a lot more inside stuff. And the people that were comfortable came back, and the people that weren't stayed home. It is what it is. I had to open. I had to keep my job somehow.
Absolutely. And, you know, of course, people who are working out are the best protected against COVID that you can get, right? Like, there's no better vaccine than being in good health. I mean, anybody can get sick, and it can affect anybody. But you want to improve your odds, you know, be in incredibly great shape. Now your odds of surviving anything just got a heck of a lot better.
And that's the message we've all been promoting since day one. And we're just hoping that it spreads to the masses more and more, and we can keep this show going because, you know, we're helping people here. You're helping people with the software. It goes hand in hand. We're all trying to do the right thing, and just get over this, whatever this is.
Yeah, and it's got to be over soon. I mean, it looks like I don't know. I try not to get too caught up in the news because it's too easy to be reading about new strains and new issues and all that. But, you know, I feel like we got to be coming to the end of it soon, and those that have survived it learned a lot. You know, got a lot of interesting ideas. I do think out of all of the industries most affected by COVID, the fitness industry is most poised to explode out of it, you know, coming out the other side. They called it the COVID-15, now it's the COVID-30, you know what I mean? Like, people who are staying home were not getting healthier. And yeah, online classes, you do the best you can, but there's nothing that can really reproduce that in-gym group class experience where you get the community, the little extra push from everybody that's there, and just the feeling that you have at the end of a class that you did with other people. It's the thing that keeps you going and keeps you motivated to keep going. You know, it's like every CrossFit gym is like a little mini boot camp where everybody just like suffers together and then you know is bonded because of it.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Suffers together, and that's that bond. You're 100%. And that's what CrossFit is, and that's what the weightlifting club is. We're all lifting together. We're in this together. We're in this fight, and we're gonna struggle together. And at the end, we're gonna be like, oh, I'm glad that was over.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, you find out somebody does CrossFit, and you like got that instant bond with them. You know, like, you know, people walking around at the CrossFit Games, they walk up to me. I already know we have a lot in common right there, just right out of the gate, and we can talk about something. And we've got a shared experience. So that's what people who experience that's what keeps them going. That's why CrossFit better than any other fitness methodology. And it's not just CrossFit, but you know, the high intensity CrossFit methodology that has been adopted by so many different fitness centers. It really works. And weightlifting is its own version of that. Right. You know, weightlifting has got its very own version of, everybody knows that the heaviest object I should say every weightlifter knows that the heaviest object in the known universe is a half a kilo added to your snatch PR. like that is the thing that you're looking at and you're like, how is that possible? But it just is.
Yeah. And that's good. What was I saying? I was thinking of something. I totally lost it.
Oh, sorry.
No, so that's what I want to talk about. So like a lot of people get the gym, CrossFit gym, like kind of wrong when they get this perception of CrossFit and how it's improper movements and it's too much and it's overtraining, and then they don't realize the community part, which is what we're talking about, and that bonding. And then other fitness centers or boot camps try to replicate the parts of CrossFit that they think are what the masses want and need, but they miss out on that community portion.
And and the community portion. And you know what else I'll add to that? The community portion is huge.
Yeah.
But I'll also add to it, anyone who tries to like go to the masses, they cut out anything related to skill, but they forget that like learning something new and like struggling a little bit to learn something, a skill, is actually very satisfying. And so if you take all the skill movements out and you just give people movements that you don't really have to teach and anybody can coach and there's no skill left in it, it ends up being a bit of an empty experience over the long haul. Sure, you'll feel the burn. You know, if all you want is that burn, you want to get that heart rate up, you can do that with a lot of different things. But what CrossFit really adds is, and of course weightlifting is the epitome of that, is the skill component. So you're there, you're going to get a great workout, but you're going to learn something. And it's something you can work on to get better at the longer you do it. You know, how long have I been doing CrossFit? 10 years, you know, and there's every single movement that I do still needs work. And so you can kind of continually perfect it. And for a lot of people, that's very satisfying. And if you cut that part out, it just becomes boring again. You know, you can only go on circuit training so long before your mind is just fried.
Right. And there's with CrossFit, there's a million things you need to be good at. And that's why the competitions are so crazy. But when you look at just the competitions and not about the fitness program, that's where the perception gets a little bit misguided. But the community is the thing the glue that holds this all together. And without them, we wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's what keeps people coming back, for sure.
All right, Michael, we're going to close this one out. I want to thank you so much for coming out and coming on my MarbleCast. Hope you enjoyed this.
It was a pleasure, Joe. Yeah, oh man, I always love, I can talk about CrossFit and workouts and software all day long. So hope you enjoyed it too. I wouldn't bore you guys.
No, this was great, man. I love going back. I love talking to people that have been with the sport as long or longer than I have, because those early days were like the wild, wild west, but they were so important to where we are now. And a lot of people who come into CrossFit now, they just don't understand what it was and how we got here. And it's just, it's awesome talking to people who had that same experience.
We have come a long way, haven't we?
Yeah. Ridiculous. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on here. Guys, if you have need any gym management software, hit up Michael Kloster for WODHopper. It's awesome. If you're opening a gym, definitely hit up WODHopper. Thanks again, Michael. Appreciate you.
Likewise. Take care, Joe.
All right. Age is inevitable. Weakness is not. So get out there and lift some shit, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching today's MarbleCast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any content. Check out our Spreadshirt shop to grab some swag. And if you would like to support the MarbleCast, please head over to anchor.fm. All of the links are in the description, and it helps us out to keep the channel running. Thanks so much, guys. See you next time.